Hello and welcome to the Audio Dad Chronicles. I'm Shale, and today we're going to take a dive into the behind-the-scenes world of The Warning. This will be Gear Masters Edition. So it's been recommended many times over now, being a former roadie and all, that I really need to look under the hood of The Warning, a band I've grown to like a lot, and check out the Gear Masters videos. Apparently we get a little bit of a behind-the-scenes take into each of the three ladies and their gear. So there's three of them. We're going to do them all in one shot here. So let's just jump right into this and not waste any more time. Like the tour bus effect.
Hey everybody, I'm Dani from The Warning. I'm the guitar player and singer of the band. We're super excited to be headed out on tour, promoting our newest single, which is called More. Go ahead and listen to it. And today, I'm gonna be taking you through
this is a few years old now.
Guitars. Well, a lot of
Hopefully
them. Hopefully,
not too much has changed.
Amazing PRS guitar. She's my baby. This is a custom 2408 guitar. She was my first PRS guitar, and I completely fell in love with her during the pandemic. I was kind of like in this dating sense in guitars. I was really trying to find out where I was the most comfortable, and I found it right here with this beautiful baby.
PRS makes some good stuff.
Everywhere. She's been with me through a lot of tours.
Locking tuners.
And this is like my...
I'm sure they'll get into it. She will get into it on this, so I'm going to give her a chance to explain the guitar. I'm not familiar with that particular model, but there is a lot of switches on it, and based on their positions, I'm just going to take a complete blind shot in the dark on this one and say from right to left, we're going to have a volume, the knobs, volume and then tone mastered. That white switch in the upper side is going to be the three-way switch for her pickups. And then the two down in between are going to be coil taps. And the third one, let's go with phase. Let's see how right I am. And if she doesn't explain it, I'll try to get quickly into that, just so we understand what we're looking at for those non-musicians out there.
Which is super cool, because if you see here, we have, this is like the cool thing about the custom 2408. We have the split coils, which you can have different combinations of pickups between all the different settings. We have this double switch here, and I did a little bit of modification. This is really new, but look at this. If I click on this switch, we get some LED lights in here for when everything goes
Did
dark.
Not see that coming.
I will not lose my way. It's just very, very cool. You know, even though we're a super rock and roll band, most of my the tunings of the songs are in E standard. I usually go all the way into...
Okay, quick little break on that. Like I said, I'm going to let her explain it for the most part, and maybe I'm going to be, superseded, because whatever she says is going to be more right than me. But I'm going to try to take some shots in the dark just to see how sharp I still am with it all. And for those that weren't certain what it means, those two little switches that she flicked there in the middle, those are what they call coil taps. If you look on the individual pickups, the things that are, in between the strings that pick up the sound, there's 2 rows of 6 screws. Those are what pick up the sound, hence the name, and they work together in tandem, and they're always wired together. So one set is one sound, and then so right now that switch by her hand is in the downward position. That's going to be the pickup closest to the bridge. If she flicked it all the way up, it would be the one closest to the neck, and the middle position would do the 2 of them. Well, those mini switches, what they are doing is they're shutting off 1/2 of each pickup, so she can do a number of different pickup configurations for different sounds based on where she puts those and the master switch.
All the way in volume, because I'm the only guitar on stage, so I want to be as loud and as clear as possible. Also with the bridge pickups. And here, I used to I really like to use both my humbuckers to the most I can, right? I have some parts with cleans that I will go up here, but usually I just leave it like that. I like to play that with that more around in the studio. but for live purposes, that's usually where I just like go all out. For the strings, I use 1046. These are
Pretty standard tuning
the
gauge.
radio strings. NYXL. NYXL.
Great strings.
And yeah, they're thinner strings because I have a tiny hand, but it's all good. They rock just as hard. So yeah, those are the strings that I use. So I really hope I don't cry when I tell you the story about this guitar.
I've heard about
this
this
is a Gibson
guitar.
Explorer that was gifted to me last year by one of my idols, Lizzie Hale. It's an incredible
Too
story
cool.
because I was waiting for a guitar change from my guitar tech mid-show, and then I realized that he comes to take my guitar, but he doesn't give me anything back, and I was just like, oh my god, what's happening? And then before I knew it, Lizzie Hale comes running on stage with this guitar and just like hands it to me. I was like, you're kidding. I thought she was lending me one of her guitars because it looks like really similar, but then after the show I was just like, I couldn't believe it, and she told me like, that is for you, and it was
That's
specifically
amazing.
made with the things that you like, your strings, this pickups, which yes, I love, and honestly I still can't believe it. I take it everywhere with me because one of the things that she says, like, it's for you, please rock as hard as you can with it, and that's what I plan to do. I use this guitar very much the same as I use my PRS guitar. The only difference in this is that I had to like get used to the size of it. The first day I played it, I already nicked it. Oh my god,
Well, she
it
made it
has
her
some
own.
battle scars. I'm not used to the
Nice.
dimensions, but I love it.
I can say though those guitars, Gibson Explorers, they are big, they are heavy, and coming from Lizzie Hale, that's quite the compliment to be gifted that for sure. I've seen Hailstorm with Volbeat live before, and she was fantastic, and I dare say she played the Explorer almost, if not the entire show.
This one has a
Oh,
very
that's
similar
interesting.
story to the Explorer, which is crazy to think about. I just got this last month from the one and only Matt Bellamy from
Whoa.
Muse. They have been my idols since I could remember. And we
Massive
were
praise.
talking about guitars,
That's
and
a
at one
Manson.
point he just goes like, what's your favorite color? And I was just like, I panicked, I just said yellow. I was just like, but what kind of yellow? And it's like mustard yellow. Before I knew it, I have a one-of-a-kind Manson mustard yellow guitar. It's the only one that
Wow.
exists in this color. But the model is an Onyx 6 because of the 6 strings. It's fairly new in the Manson world. I'm just trying it out. I'm testing it out live to see what are the songs, what are the tunings that I can use on it, and overall I'm still getting used to it, but it's gonna be my new best friend. I know it. We're gonna have great times together. And I also love the inverted headstock here. It's just like,
Very
ooh,
cool.
nice. So overall, really love this guitar, and I can't wait to play it more. This is the pick that I use. It's a big stubby from Dunlop, and it's very funny. People usually, this is usually a jazz pickup, but I love how the grip feels on it, and honestly, this was made for me. Even though the sound could be a little bit harder with other picks, I really like this one because I feel like at the end of the day, the more comfortable you are with what you're playing, the better. So, yeah. Welcome to my battle
here
station.
we go.
This is
Kemper.
a Kemper Profiler pedal board, which I control every single song that I have on here. I have all the different titles of all of our songs. Oh, let me find our new single. Wait. There it is, more. What I love about this, it doesn't sound digital at all. I've had
True
different
story.
types of pedal boards throughout the years, but I love the Kemper because it's very organic sounding. I'm not gonna lie, to build this beauty took me a while. The cool thing about the
Believable.
amps and cabinets that I'm using is that they have been profiled, and those are David Bendit's amplifiers and the ones that we used to record our latest album because he was our producer. And I love that I can use the exact sound that I had for the recording and give it new life for the live version. So that is absolutely amazing to me. I usually have 4 different settings. We have the clean one, I go to my main one, and my main one are the chunky ones. That's are the things I use to do my palm mute, so they're a little less behind in gain so that they don't feedback a lot. Then I have like my big sound, which usually I add a harmonizer to it, which I'm only the only guitar on stage, so I like to have a low octave as well, so I can just kind of grow super big, and that's my whammy one. I usually have a bridge one, which has a little bit more delay and reverb on it, so that it kind of like breathes a little bit more, and that's usually all that I do in basically each song. I actually have some songs that I love to play with the expression pedal and just going an octave higher, so I would just like play a note and go
whammy. There it is.
And then solo.
I was going to pause it and mention something because she very casually dropped the whammy, and I wasn't certain if she was going to touch on that. I really do want to let her talk for the most part, but you know, YouTube makes us interrupt it and have our own commentary to maintain the, or sort of to interrupt the I'm just watching it and going ooh ah effect. But in short, and I'm sure she's going to touch on it, whammy is an effect by Digitech. It's a brand, and it's a rocker pedal like a wah pedal, but it functions differently in that it's got different settings. So instead of it doing the wah effect, which is really in a cue, what it's doing is it's pitch shifting up or down depending where you set it. Very commonly used or famously used by Pantera, Rage Against the Machine, and of course The Warning for our where you're very prominently spiking the octave up or down.
That's really, really cool. I don't use a lot of whammy in general for solos. It's just not my thing, but here is where I use it. I do not have a guitar plugged in. I'm just realizing that, so I can't show you. But in this one, I use the expression pedal a lot for that. Since I'm already using an amp.
This tripped me up in previous videos when I was trying to pick out their gear live. This little box was sitting there on top of her cabinet, and I'd never seen it before, and it was one of those things I was like, what the heck is that? There's 3 knobs on it. Let's go.
Over here, I do not find the necessity of having one here, but I love to hear my amp on stage. I love to feel the sound of the guitar, so I usually go through this pedal baby, which is just a preamp, into the cab so I can have my sound here, and the pedal board goes straight into the front of house console and just blast it out through the PA. Thank you for watching, everybody. You can watch our content on the Warning Rock Band on.
So yeah, she very touched. She actually, I dare say, had a slip of the tongue there. She called it a preamp, and I think more technically it's a power amp. Although I do believe there's a small amount of preamp action in it. Her pedal board, the Kemper, is producing all the tone and to emulate an amplifier, and then it's going to the power amp to go through the speakers so she can have that wall of sound. So there we go. That was Dani from The Warning on the Gear Masters edition. Hang tight after this break. We're going to queue up the next one. All right, here we go. This will be Alejandra's Gear Masters. Next up.
Hi, my name is Alejandra Villarreal, and I am the bass player of the band The Warning. Our new single, More, just came out, so go check it out. And I am going to be talking about my bass today. So, this is my bass.
Oh,
this is a custom USA bass. It's an NS5 XL. I am a Spectre artist. I designed this bass with them. Everything from the wood and the material, the color, everything.
That bass is beautiful and has so much growl.
To the inlays, which is the this is our logo. So everything we did together, and I really love it. We did special wood in the back. I think it's redwood to make the bass lighter, because most of their basses are extremely heavy.
Spectres are heavy. 5 strings are heavier.
Make it a bit lighter, but it's still great wood for the sound of the bass, and I feel like it's just perfect for everything we do with the band. So yes, I love it. I started using a 5-string bass like maybe 3 years ago now, 4 years, and I quite love it. A fan actually
I'm mostly,
gifted me
if not
a
exclusively,
Spectre bass,
5-string
a
at this
4-string
point.
Spectre bass,
Mostly.
like 5 years ago maybe, and since then I've loved Spectre, and I'm really proud to now own a custom bass. You can actually get this design, which is called Alice Inferno, in the Spectre website, and I also we just released a signature model, which is my model. It's a 4-string bass, and it was inspired by this original bass that we designed with Spectre. So yeah, and it also has my signature in the back, which is
Very
awesome.
cool.
I love it. And a last thing that we just added to this bass are lights.
Ah,
And so this is, it looks really
LEDs.
cool, but it's also really helpful for when we play live and you know the lights are all over the place. It's just so I can go back and I know where I'm playing. So these
Yes,
pickups are
struggle is
UPS
real on that
pickups.
one.
I have, well, 2 normal knobs and a stack, I think, knob, that's how they're called.
That is
and
correct.
this is regular volume. This is the blend for the pickups. This side is mostly this pickup. I use it in the middle. And these are the bass EQ. These are the high ends. I use it almost all the way up, not all the way up though. I use it in standard tuning, so it's B, E, A, D, G. Standard tuning all the way. The strings, I use the Dario strings. I use the NYXL 45 to 130, and
Pretty standard for a
I
bass.
love them. They sound pretty good. They last a really long time, and
True
they're
story.
not too bright. They're not too flat, I guess. But yeah, I love these strings. I don't have to change them out as often. This is my pedal board.
Here we go.
I don't use that.
I know she'll get more into that, but again, I have to pause it every so often because that's just a YouTube thing. But what I see so far is a strobo stomp. That's on the far right. That's a tuner. The Microtubes B3K, I think that's, yeah, primarily she uses that for her overdrive or her distorted tone. And on the far left is the Aguilar Tone Hammer, which is an amazing preamp DI box. Let's let her tell her own story, though.
But this is a preamp. I love this preamp so much. I actually used it. It was one of the first pedals I ever got. And then I stopped using it. And then I was like, I miss this pedal. And it's such a good preamp. Really, this is how I control most of the sound that goes out when we play live. I really like the bass. To really cut through, since we're a trio, we feel like the bass is really important, so we really want to have that bottom end. But this also really helps us define well what I'm playing, because sometimes you really can't hear what the bass is playing. You can only feel it. I mostly only use the Engage. I don't use the AGS, but this is the gain volume. It's not the volume of the gain. And I really just use it at half, treble, half. Everything is mostly
Pretty much
in
right
the
down the
half
middle.
position. Bass,
She's
not
using
too
the sound
much,
of her bass and
little,
her fingers.
mid-frequencies,
Or pick.
mid-levels, they're all just halfway there. With a mix of this and my bass, it's really easy to be able to, be able to hear what I'm playing correctly without losing that bottom end. So I feel like that's really important to me, and this really helps me do that. As well as this other pedal, which is the Dark Glass Microtubes. I love this bass overdrive. It's so good. I've also tried a lot of
Dark glass
overdrives
pedals are
over the past
incredible.
few years, and this one is really cool because it's really easy to blend the overdrive, like the distortion sound, as much as you can or as little as you want it to. So it's not really overpowering, and you can still hear what I'm playing. Like, as I said, like you can hear the bass lines without becoming just like this mess of like distortion. This is the overdrive. I usually leave it all the way up, and I mix as much of it as I want. And here, this is the blend between your normal bass sound and the distortion. I usually keep it almost halfway there.
That blend knob is the secret weapon. You know the pedal is designed with bass in mind, in my opinion, my experience, when they put that blend knob on. I'm a bit older than probably a lot of y'all out there. And as a bass player and somebody who has made heavy use of effects over the years, when Muse came out, I actually worked a show way back in the day on their first album even. And they were a band that were heavily utilizing effects back then. We're talking the late 90s. 90s, early 2000s, late 90s at this point in time. You know, I'd seen Tool a few times already at that point, and their heavy use of effects. I had already been myself, not that my bands went anywhere. None of y'all would have ever heard of us, are you sure? But I myself, as a bass player, was a heavy user of effects, and I used to have to build very complicated effects boards with mixing boards and all kinds of things just to achieve what ultimately these days is all encompassed in that one single blend knob. It is the secret weapon for a bass player who is using distortion live, because when a bass player kicks on the distortion, especially with a guitar player distorted, it just disappears. You're just gone. Nobody hears you. But that blend knob lets you bring in back some of the clean tone back into your distorted tone, so you can balance it, so you can hear that clean low end, and then that distorted mid cuts through to give you that really grindy sound that she definitely uses on some of her music.
Everything. So yeah, here you just blend it as much as you want, and it's really nice because you can still hear the original sound of the bass just with a bit of distortion on it, so it's amazing. I quite love it. This is my lovely tuner. You can't have a pedal board without a tuner. It's really important to me, and it also serves as a mute button. It's just muted, and it's really nice as well because even while I'm playing, I can see the tuner move around, so if I'm ever like mid-song and I have no idea if I'm tuned well, I can play a note and it'll tell me if I'm tuned or not. So yeah, it's just my tuner. This is
And that little pedal there, her tuner pedal, as she so casually just shows it off, that in itself to me, when those came out, that specific one, the Peterson Strobo Stomp, that in itself was oh my goodness, this game changing. In the 80s, 90s, when I started getting into, well, 90s, when I started getting to touring, being a guitar tech, being a roadie, I invested thousands of dollars back then, not in today's dollars, back then, in a Peterson Strobo tuner, or strobe tuner. They were big, they were awkward, they were heavy, they were expensive, they didn't work like a normal tuner. You had to know how to use them. And they were almost a piece of scientific test equipment, but nothing was more accurate. And so, you weren't a real roadie unless you had a Peterson. So I had to have one. I invested some of the money I made into it. And there it was, and I had it, and I was very proud. It had its own little road case and everything. Fast forward 10 or 15 years, and that technology is this big in the pedal on the floor where you can just click a button and music. It's just, technology is a marvel.
switch between my wireless so I can use it. Normally this is for the wireless, and the wireless is at the bottom.
Even
So
this,
it's packed in here.
that's
This is
genius.
just to activate and deactivate.
Hiding the wireless in your pedal board.
This
Again,
is what I
just
use for live shows. I don't have this actually at home,
Very
but this
nice.
is what we use for live shows. This is an Ampic cab. This is an 8x10, and it's just that classic Ampic sound, which I love.
AKA the fridge. But she's rocking a Mesa Boogie Subway D800 and mic'd up with an Electro Voice RE20. I've been thinking about getting a new microphone, and if I do decide to do so, if I retire the one that I'm currently using, that's the microphone right there that I will almost certainly be getting. I'm curious, what is all your opinions on YouTubers, reactors, people like myself who are doing this, who have the mic in front of them, versus, for me anyways, my microphone is right there, just off camera. You can't quite see it. I'm looking at it. It's there. But what do y'all think about people that put them in front? I've been thinking about getting that microphone. And it does work better when it's, right there in your face and you get that big radio voice. But I'm not to say that I'm not uncomfortable or unhappy with my own voice. It is what it is. But just throwing that out there. What do you all think about that? Do you like it when you see the microphone? Do you prefer it when it's a little more cash, a little more open? Let me know in the comments, would you?
This is a Mesa amp. It is mic'd and all, but we mostly use this for on stage and for like the people in front, so you can really feel the bass. I love this. It's honestly such a help when we're on stage, because sometimes you can't really feel the energy that the crowd feels. Like you can't feel it on stage, and the amps like really help us to feel the bass. So mostly I just love it to have like a lot of bottom end so I can feel and listen my bass on the outside as well. So thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to check out our new music and go to thewarningbank.com for any other information you want to know about us. And yeah, thank you.
All right, there we go. That was chapter 2, Alejandra's version. That was her gear, her pedal board, and everything. So hang tight. We're going to queue up the next video, and we will get rocking here with Pow. All right, here we go. This will be Pow's version, Gear Masters Edition.
Hi, I'm Paulina. I am the drummer from The Warning, and right now we're in the North American leg of our Error World Tour. It's the second leg we're doing here in the US, and we're very excited. We just released a new song that is called More, and this is like one of the first times that we've been playing it throughout this tour, so it's been really cool. I've actually had to modify my kit to play that new song, so I'm gonna walk you through it. This is a DW performance series, and
Oh, hey, before we get too far into her breakdown of her drum kit, I'm curious about your opinions on the future of this channel. Myself being a former roadie, I've been considering branching out my content into things beyond reacting. And I'm curious, what would you all want to see? I might just throw up a poll on the site very soon, on the Patreon site, if anywhere. It will be a free poll. I'll let anybody and everybody in on that wants to, so do sign up over there to get involved in that poll, because I'm confident I'm going to put that up there soon. Would you like to see stuff like this? Behind the scenes, checking out pedal boards and looking at the stage gear, maybe a walkthrough of what it means to do a sound check sometime. Would you like to see stuff like that? Would you want to hear more stories of the past, opportunities of being on stage or interviews with bands, studio tours maybe, because I'm surrounded by a bunch of recording studios, and maybe one day we'll check out those. If you'd like to see more content like that, do let me know. Or if you're just very content to just have me react to songs and music, that's cool too. I'd love to hear about that. Tell me more, okay?
she's called Bonbon, which is marshmallow in Spanish. I got it during the pandemic, and I was gonna like use it for the first time, and then pandemic happened. So it still feels very new to me. This is a 10-inch tom. This is a 12.
That is a marshmallow drum
usually
kit.
I go for a 14 here, but right now for live, I'm using a 16, and this is an 18. So I just can get like that deep sound. I use the toms a lot, like for main like rhythm parts. So I really wanted to get like that depth in there. My bass drum actually is a little bit shorter in depth. This is 2214 bass drum. My snare is a hand-hammered Black Beauty.
Very nice.
As you can see,
classic.
She's a beauty. I really like the snare. I've been using it for kind of a short time. It was actually a gift, so I'm very happy with it. It has a very deep sound. It sounds gritty. It depends on obviously how you tune it, but my drum tech Carlos always like gets just such a beautiful, hard-hitting sound out of it. I use clear pinstripe Remo heads, again 10, 12, 16, 18 on the snare. I use the controlled sound coated one from Remo. So the tuning, especially in the toms, usually varies. These are usually tighter so I can get a good bounce from it. It sounds higher. But these ones are usually kind of tricky sometimes because I like them very loose. I like them deep sounding. But sometimes we get a lot of resonance. But Carlos, my drum tech, has this very cool trick. I don't know if you can see inside the drum, there are cotton pads. We use those to remove our makeup after the shows. And Carlos, one day, he just put them there. And it really dampens the sound, but it doesn't like mute it completely. So that's great. So I can get them a little bit loose without it being a complete mess for our sound engineer. So I am a Sabian artist, and I use HHX all over my drum kit. This is an 18 HHX. This is a 16. This is also 18, the Ozone Evolution, and a 20 China. This is a 14. I use this on very few songs, but it does make a huge difference because I keep this a little bit more close than I do this one. So every time I just
She kind of glossed over it, but just in case she doesn't come back around to it, that drum that she's talking, or pardon me, cymbal that she's talking about on the side there, she said she keeps a little more closed. That's actually a hi-hat. Normally, the hi-hat would be over here on her left, and there will be a foot pedal for it that allows it to open and close. But some drummers who want to keep a specific openness between the two cymbals that make up a hi-hat, they will sometimes do things like this, where they have a second one and the cymbals are set to a specific distance away and they don't change. There's no pedal connected to it, so whenever you hit that, you're consistently getting that mid-open sound in this case, which she's after.
Right over here when I'm doing like double bass pedal things, I use this one. This is my little splash. I love it. I don't use it as much as I would like to, but hopefully in newer songs I can incorporate it more. My ride, it's a Raw Bell Dry Ride 21.
Big ride.
She's a beauty. This is my absolute favorite cymbal ever. I've been using it
They just
for
look cool.
years. I think for like 6 years now, and it has such a cool sound. I crash a lot all the time, but I used to have just a normal, like another HHX over here, but this, it just sounds so much darker, so it really cuts through like the brightness of these HHX ones. I just incorporated this
She's got more cowbell
to my drum kit because our new single More has a part with cowbell, and it's really fun using it. I haven't used a cowbell in like years, and it has like its little tricks because sometimes it just like really falls, but it sounds so cool, and it's just really fun to just like drive in that. I love it. I am a big Firth artist. I use 5B barrel tip. I just
Pretty standard
changed
drum.
drumsticks actually. I used to use 5K,
Stick.
but I'm a very hard hitter, and I wanted to stop. Like, it just felt really light in my hands, so I got this heavier set, and I've been using it this whole year, and it has made such a good difference. I don't have to use as like much strength to get like a very hard, deep sound out of them. This DW rack that I have, it's actually been like very modified by my dad. My dad like loves hardware, and it used to be like a little bit too large for me, so he like grabbed like a saw and just started cutting everything to my size. And everything is just like so meticulously measured and marked. So like every time that we're touring, like my drum tech and everyone in production can just set everything up really quickly. So it's very efficient. Every time we open for a band or something, we can get everything done in a very short amount of time, so we're not bothering anybody, and it's great. And it's also very comforting to arrive to each show knowing that the measurement of everything is gonna be exactly the same each show. So
That right there is the mark of a good drum tech, and her dad as well, it seems, has a contributor on all of that. Although myself, I've primarily been guitar, bass, worked with a vocalist, keyboards even. I've done drums as well, but it's not my specialty. But I definitely am aware, and working with drum techs over the years, that it is a very common standard practice to do, like what she was saying, where it all starts on the ground. Drum kits are almost always going to be put out on a rug or a mat of some kind. And if we get to sneak peek anywhere along the way, I'll try to pause it if we get a peek at it. I almost guarantee that her kit is set up on a rug, and that every single foot of every single stand is going to be taped off. So the drum rack of which she speaks, the drums, the cymbal stands, and all of that, they're all going to be in the exact same spot, oriented the exact same way. All of her stands will probably be marked in tape or in felt or something like that, so the heights can be put the same, the angles can be put the same. So like she said, she's got the confidence and the know-how that she just walks out there on stage, sits down in her kit, and it's exactly the way she wants it every time. And the same will be for the guitar and for the bass. You know, when the pedal boards are always built and they're assembled, so they're going to be all in the same spots. And Dani's, you know, her Kemper profiler has all the cues set up. The guitar tech would have put the settings for the first song on it live, so she just steps on, unmutes things, and they get going. But when they put them down in front, there will be taped marked spots for exactly where they wanted it. a good guitar tech who is setting up a microphone for them, so for their lead or backup vocals. They every guitar tech will have learned the height preference and the angle and the tilt of the microphone and the mic stands for the vocalists, and they will usually reference it to their own body for that repetition. So if any given artist, if I'm about 6 feet tall, but the singer might be a little shorter than me and they like the microphone at this height, I would let them put it where they want it the first time, and I would just walk up to it and just make a mental note. Okay, point it at my chin, point it here, point it at my nose. If you're working for Lemmy, not that I have, but I've been on his stage, it's above my head. It is what it is, but those are the little quirks, the little things that guitar techs and drum techs would learn to do to make the job better and more comfortable and natural and just automatic for the artists that they're working for. They're just going to be able to sit down, grab their sticks, know where they are, and just begin to rock out without questioning or hesitation.
You get like wonky drum sets sometimes. It's all measured precisely. The pedal that I'm using is a Machine DW pedal. I used to use a direct drive from DW, but after they released the chain one, I prefer this one so much more. And it takes a while getting used to it, but once you get the hang of it, it's so easy to control. And again, I'm a very hard hitter, so it just comes back to me in such a easy way for me to like not hurt myself while I'm playing. And I just really love it. I've been using it for a while.
Tours go a long time. You don't want to tire out.
DW. I'm a DW girl. And for my MIDI pedals, I'm using some Roland MIDI pedals. They're very heavy, which is great. So basically, I launch all of our like stems and click through Ableton. And I used to have to do it with like manually, but it kind of looked really like clunky. Like after every single song, I would have to go and click enter. So with these MIDI pedals, I can launch the whole show without anybody noticing.
Very slick.
And I used to have like, I've been through so many MIDI pedals and MIDI pads, but these are so great because they're really heavy. So like, they're not gonna be set off by like the slightest movement. They're like, it takes a good hit for it to change the scene. So they're fantastic. I have a start pedal and a stop pedal just in case something goes wrong. We're all human, so sometimes we need to stop the click track. It's just so efficient for everybody to have these systems.
And very smart of her to physically remove them from each other. So in the excitement of the moment, she doesn't accidentally hit the wrong button and stop it when she meant to hit start, because it looks like the start is also moving it down to other scenes and other cues. Very, very cool.
And it's fantastic. The drum throne that I use is the DW Airlift 9000. It's great. I use it in the lowest setting because I'm really short. So, but it's really comfortable. I love it. For in-ears, I use in-ears audio. They are fantastic. Usually we grow them out really quickly, but these have just like really lasted. And usually the problems that we have with in-ears is like the cables at one point, like they just don't plug in correctly and you don't hear stuff. But these ones have lasted wonderfully. What I hear the most in my mix is the bass, because me and my sister are just like really connected when we're playing. So having that, like those bass ends, just like really makes a big difference. For my kick block, I have a kick block because I hit it very hard and usually it just goes.
It's always marvelous for me to see the evolution of technology. When I was roadieing, they were only really just starting to get into in-ears. Myself, I finally have my own in-ears for doing this here. But back in the day, I just had a floor monitor back in Guitar World where my guitar equipment and repairs and tuning and all that was all set up. But the kick block, that was called a brick back in my day.
So far, sometimes like when we didn't have a kick block, sometimes Carlos, my drum tech, would just have to be like there in front of the drum just like for it to not move. So that is a lifesaver and I love it. So that was my gear run through. Once again, we are The Warning. Our webpage is called thewarningband.com. We are The Warning Band on all social media, so go check us out. Thank you for watching.
Well, there it is. That was really, really cool. I'm glad I took that little trip through. I wonder how different their gear is these days, because this has been a few years since this came out. I'll have to keep my eye open for one to see if there's any updated versions of this out there. And like I asked earlier, really curious, would you like to see content like this from me, or should I just stick to reacting to videos? You let me know. I would really like to know, because I've been considering expanding a little bit more outside of the realm of just reaction videos. And in fact, it was that idea has been in my head since day one, but it was a bit of a motivator as to what led me to choose the name of this channel. I didn't want it to be limited to just reactions. But so far I have. Where do we go from here? Let me know what you think about that all. I thank you all for coming along on this extended journey through Gear Masters x3, the Warning Edition. Thank you all for coming along for the ride. I hope to see you all again. Peace, love, and empathy to all. Good night.